Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show, interesting and all, with my co-host Lucky Stone and our guest Dalibor Suchi. Thank you both for being here tonight as we break the news. Yes.
Exciting.
Anyway. Okay, so has everybody heard? And let's we were just talking about this off stage here a few minutes ago, and Trump has been shot and wounded. And I barely knew. I knew that, but Lucky, you filled me in on some of the other stuff. Want to fill that in, and I'll pull this article up real quick.
Well, I just was quickly reading.
This kind of stuff, but,
I'm quickly reading that he got shot above, I believe, the right ear. It was bleeding. Secret Service ushered him away. I believe one person in the audience got killed and two people got injured. And then the shooter who was shot from far away. He was dispatched. He was removed from the earth quickly by Secret Service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just found this out like 2 minutes ago because I don't check the news maybe once a day. But yeah, it's strange. Difficult to say if it really happened.
Yeah, exactly. Bleeding from ear, gunshot at Trump, Pennsylvania rally. Trump screams, fight. And basically, Trump got shot. Alarming took place on Saturday evening. Yeah, that's now. Video recordings of the scene. Truck ducking down immediately after initial gunshot. Secret Service agents promptly moved to shield Trump. Trump was grazed by a bullet in his right ear. Despite the injury, he was whisked away. Trump managed to raise his fist defiantly and shout F towards the crowd. Well, there he is.
Like I say, it's too convenient, too flashy. I doubt that this actually happened.
Yeah.
It's great PR. I mean, it's gonna make
great PR. Exactly. He wants to be made look like a martyr or something.
Yeah, kind of interesting. I mean,
powerful situation. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, like I mentioned to a friend a couple of hours ago, either Trump doesn't get elected and there's a civil war in the United States, or Trump does get elected and there's a civil war in the United States.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, yeah.
It says strange. No one's seen the sniper. Yeah. It makes you wonder. Nina, that's what she says. No one has seen the sniper. Well, how would you know what you're looking for if it didn't, or unless it already happened? It's like you probably looked right at the guy. How many people walked past the guy? Did he whip out a pistol, or did he have a rifle, or what? I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah, Pamela Jean's historical day. Yeah, this one will go down for a while. It'll be the talk of the town. Here, I thought the big news of the day was Richard Simmons passing away. Remember Richard Simmons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. You're all
I remember.
People.
I remember him. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think Dr. Ruth also passed away today too.
Oh really?
And she was ancient anyways. Yeah, she's ancient anyways, so wow.
Oh, God, she had to be like 90.
Yeah.
Still talking that sex talk. Oh, yeah, that's funny because, I mean, anyway, so what we're going to talk about today, first, I want to go off and say thank you, everybody, for coming back and joining us today after my long sabbatical. Anyway, yeah, it was one of those things. Sorry, everybody, but I want to give a little bit of tribute to where did he go? To my horse. If you all didn't know by now, yes. Here we go. I want to share this a little bit because I feel bad. So last week, the 4th of July, I had off, and I decided to go for a horse ride on the 4th of July to celebrate. What better way to celebrate the 4th of July? And July, I saddled up my old horse, went for a ride. He's a little bit barn sour, and he reared up and flipped over backwards on me, squishing me pretty good. Like, he got my one leg and he got my shoulder pretty bad, but I managed to get up and get back on, but he didn't want to ride. And well, I walked him back about halfway, and he seemed to be doing okay. Well, he didn't want to ride then either. Kept, kind of acting a little funny, but we walked pretty good. Walked all the way home, about 3/4 of a mile, so it wasn't. And my leg was hurting pretty good by this time, and my well, anyway, we got back and we unsaddled, and life was pretty good. But unfortunately, the poor guy, this was him after the ride, he was looking, he looked okay. He was walking around the pasture. I videotaped him. I got more video, but I think I should tell. But anyway, he was doing okay. Nothing wrong. He was all right. Right after this, within, 20 minutes or so, I went in the house because it started to rain. And, it rained. It was blowing winds and hail, rain coming down like in buckets. It was, Scotty Boy says, broke his leg. You had to put him down. Nope, did not have a broken leg. Nope, he walked back. Everything was fine. You could see his legs are fine. I went in the house because of the rainstorm, and within about an hour, it was just about ready to stop. I looked out to check the other horses, and the poor horse was, the other horses were in the shed, and he was out in the field. I put my boots on and hobbled out there, and yep, he was deader than a doornail. Dead. 22 years. He's a 22-year-old horse. I'm going to miss him. His name was Chisholm. So I don't know, what to say, but I hope that he's doing better somewhere on the other side. Hopefully he won't be so barn sour there, but he was a good riding horse. I rode him for many, many, many years. I'm going to miss this guy. Yes, I really, really am. I got lots of videos out there with him, and been riding him for, it's kind of sad. 22 years. I didn't have him all that time, but I've had him a good 15 or so off and on there. Yeah, I mean, maybe more than that. I don't know. Long time. So anyway, poor horse died. I think he broke a rib, busted his spleen. When we went over, we hit so hard that it was the end. And so I was beaten up pretty badly, and I wasn't feeling so good on Saturday, and I couldn't get my mind into the show. So I just skipped it because, it's really hard psychologically and mentally, and my physical body was hurting. I'm better now. My shoulder's still giving me a little bit of trouble, but it's one of those things. Anyway, so enough of that. He's dead and gone. I don't know what to say. Poor Chisholm. Named him after a John Wayne movie. Chisholm. Remember Chisholm? Chisholm the movie? Yeah. So anyway, one of those things. Anyway, that's not really what we're here to talk about tonight, but in a way it is. It's what do you do? It's about learning, and that's what tonight's show is. After all these years, I had a friend call me up and say, listen, you've been doing this show all these years. What did you learn? Have you learned anything? Is there any knowledge that comes out of this stuff? Or are you just beating the drum? Or do you get there and just socialize? Well, what say you guys? Let's start off with you. I think I've learned quite a bit. But, Dalibor?
I'd say, if you look back at history, the only thing that history teaches us is that we never learn from history. And that goes true for most humans, right? We keep making the same mistakes over and over again, expecting different results, the very definition of insanity. And I don't know, some people still believe that, if we keep things the way they are, that it's going to somehow get better. We've been trying this democracy thing for God knows how long, especially representative democracy. Has it really turned out any better results than what we have in the G7 countries? No, not really. Is there a better way? I'm sure there is, but I mean, I think it's serious time that we rethink this whole thing, especially with the whole presidential election in the United States coming up. I mean, the concept of electing like a tribal leader of some kind, like a supreme chief or king, that sounds kind of outdated and primitive to me. And so does representative democracy, because that was conceived back in the day when it was inconceivable for 300 million people to get together and come to some kind of agreement. But the way it turned out is that it's a lot easier to bribe a couple of hundred congressmen than it is to bribe a couple of million citizens, right? And that's, I would say, the weak link in the chain of representative democracy, is that special interests have a really easy time of taking over, where they just got to bribe a couple of senators and congressmen. That's it. So I'd say also, given the fact that most democracies don't last longer than about 250 years, and the United States is approaching that anniversary, maybe time to rethink the whole concept. There's some of these patriots regard the U.S. Constitution as something akin to Holy Writ, as something sacred, right? But it doesn't matter how smart the people who wrote it were. It was written in a time that's long past, and that will never repeat itself again. I think it's time that a new constitution gets written where a lot of things get specified instead of being left open to interpretation by various courts, right? It's better to spell it all out instead of leaving it implied or hanging in the air. Like, what is it with this whole Bill of Rights thing? How come it's not a law of rights? A bill is not a law, is it? Right? Bill is what it is before it becomes a law. And if anything, a bill is like a statement demanding payment for goods or services rendered. So I think it's high time that gets rethunk, because, like I said, either Trump gets elected and there's a revolution, or he doesn't get elected and there's a revolution.
Lucky, what do you say to that?
Well, it's a lot more complicated than that, because we have people making rules and laws who aren't elected. The ATF, they take information that Congress gives them and empower them, and they'll start making their own rules. IRS, EPA, they make rules and they're not elected, but they were given power by the government. So that's one of our problems, that we have unelected people making our laws. Another thing is that Einstein once said, you cannot solve a problem the same level of thinking that you were at when you caused that problem. So, when you have a problem, you can't use that same information to fix a problem. You've got to think outside of the box. And a lot of times we just use we just keep pounding on the same thing and wondering why we haven't fixed anything. Well, and we don't. Democracy is not democracy. Even the Greeks never had democracy. It was the rich who ruled everything, and we don't have a democracy now. We vote on things, but again, we can vote all we want. But Congress, each state, the Congress representatives, they can take what the people vote, throw it away, because Massachusetts has done it several times. Well, we voted on something, and the government said, you know what, they didn't understand the law, they didn't understand what they were voting for, and they tossed it out. Another one was like they put on a bill that, do you not want this to happen? So if you don't want it to happen, it would be yes, and if you do want it to happen, say no. These are things the government does, and we need a better system. And then of course, when the voting thing, and you can't have IDs for voting for some reason because that's not fair to the poor. But those same poor can't buy alcohol. They could without an ID. You couldn't buy medicine without an ID. So the government talks on two different levels, and we really need rational thought. We need to stop saying, like the Democratic family who said, I say, well, I don't know if Biden is mentally capable of being president. I'm really kind. And they said, well, he's better than the alternative. And I'm like, that's not an argument. Even if you hate Trump, you need to put someone in place who will be better than Trump, not, well, he's better than the alternative. That kind of mindset is going to get us nowhere. So we need a better system. We need to toss up the two-party system entirely and just have everyone, run on your own beliefs and thoughts. But I'm rambling. Shouldn't we talk too much about government? But again, it's all about thinking outside the box, and we just don't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, the more repressive the country, the fewer the political parties it has. I was born in a communist country, and the whole party system, that's what got us where we got, because there was only one party, and that was the Communist Party, right? In the United States, you only have two parties.
Yeah.
So it's only 1 degree of separation from communism, really.
Yeah, and they don't really allow third party. I got something to add to all of this stuff. And the point is, I think, and somebody said, oh, rewrite the Constitution. I put it out there to you both that there's not enough smart people who aren't influenced by corporations or money from other entities to actually sit down and write a constitution that is fair, unjust, and non-biased anymore. Most congressmen are been congressmen. They're taught to be congressmen. There is no, there's not, while trying to do the really right thing, they seem to do the right thing, but their interests are involved in getting reelected. Where the people who wrote the Constitution back in the day, they weren't receiving foreign money to write the Constitution. They were giving their own money and lives to make a better place. And there's two significant differences in the mindset of the people now and the people then. By rewriting the Constitution, I think it would be vastly unjust, and it would be more corrupt when it was all said and done.
Yeah, but it's already been rewritten. Don't forget that the first Constitution was called the Articles of Confederation, and that only lasted 12 years, and there were 12 presidents before Washington took office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but do you think those guys who rewrote the Constitution, that they were, influenced by money and or
sure?
Some
well, at the time that Washington was president, he was the wealthiest man in North America. That's all I know. That's all you need to know. Back then, 90% of the population was involved in agriculture. There was no mass media to speak of. There was no national infrastructure of transportation. Most people didn't have the luxury of following something like politics, and much less participate in the political process by either standing for election or delving deeper into matters political.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, Washington was the wealthiest man, and it makes you wonder, was he influenced but they did say he wasn't it one of the kings who said he was the most just man ever known, or something like that, incorruptible or something like that. I know it was one of those guys. Oh, there goes Lucky. He'll be back.
Well, yeah. He I'm sure he was a decent man, but I'm also sure he had his own demons. Don't forget that one of the first wars that he waged was against his own people. That was the Whiskey Rebellion, right? So they didn't want to pay taxes. So it's not all cut and dried as it seems, and the fact that all the men who signed the Constitution were extremely rich, otherwise they wouldn't be in that position, goes to show you that nothing's really changed since the time of the ancient Greeks. Because what Lucky said about that is absolutely true. Only the elites could vote, and only the elites could, or the nobles could, stand for election. But the process was also different from what we have today, in that the candidates were not self-selected; they were selected at random. So you had no choice as to whether or not you candidated. Your name got picked out of in a lottery system, and based on that, you were a candidate, and then they voted on the various candidates. So you could say it was a bit more fair in that it weeded out the people who self-select for positions of power.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, crazy how our world works. I mean, and not too much has really changed, has it then? Here we go back to, who's the guy running for president? One of the richest guys around,
Yeah.
And when they get into Congress, they become really wealthy and rich. How does that happen? Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And exactly. And you also have to look at his track record. Like under his presidency, we had COVID, right? Because he basically caved into every demand by the pharmaceutical corporations and the medical establishment. He pretty much signed off on the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he did give each of us stimulus money in the amount of $2,300 or what was it? Yeah. Biden gave us nothing.
Yeah, he just made the debt go bigger. Either one of them, the debt went out of
control. Yeah. Sure. Well, that's another issue that's got to be addressed, because that was supposed to have been addressed by the Constitution, and that plainly says that only the Treasury can issue currency. But the Treasury does not issue currency. The Treasury only issues coins. That's it. They don't issue any of the banknotes, and they don't issue any of the T-bills or T-notes or whatever. No, that gets issued by the Federal Reserve.
Wow. Yeah. Lucky, anything to add to this?
Well, Washington did say don't create political pies, which is what Steve Bowe said. That Washington was against political parties because he said that would be the downfall of the United States. And it's been 200 years, but it's lies. Political parties are two wings of the same bird, and it's a vulture. And you're right. The problem with all government is they're paid off by corporations. We've got to get rid of the political action committees. We've got to make it so that anyone in government makes about the equal amount as the average human being. So they're not going to get rich, but they will have a comfortable life. And that's our problem, is that they get paid well. They get stuff written off. Their transportation is paid for. I mean, their food is paid for. All this is paid for, and they also get a good salary. So that kind of thing's got to get out. And if we really want a fair government, we've got to make them. They have to be paid equal to average human being, average American, and that'll make them smarten up.
The other reform that I would institute is make lobbying illegal again.
Oh, just get rid of it. Yeah, get rid of lobbying. 100%.
Because they used to call it bribery, but now it's called lobbying.
Heck, I mean, these same political people, congressmen, senators, they're doing insider trading, and it's fine. The same thing that if I did it, the company I work for, that I know something's happening, I would go to jail. But senators and congress people can do the exact same thing. They can, help boost a company that's doing business with the government and buy stocks before before the signatures dry. This is happening.
I know.
I mean, Pelosi, Kerry, I mean, a lot of even President Biden made money. And the only person who stopped trading and stuff was Trump. But of course, his kids are doing well while he was president. But Trump said, okay, I'm not going to get involved in my businesses while I'm president, which is admirable. Of course, his kids were doing really well. But that's another thing entirely. But government should not be profiting off of corporations that they're doing business with. That's the 100%. It's sick.
Yeah. And also, they should be bound by law to only act in the interests of their constituents, nobody else. Right?
True.
Nobody else. No foreign aid for anybody. Institute a policy of total isolationism, political isolationism. That's the only way.
Yep, I agree. Oh man, this political stuff is. We got to move on from political stuff. Let's
okay
do the thing and go on. So what else have we learned all this time? I know, like, I really learned more. When I started out, I learned about meditation. David Castle helped me a lot on that, and of course. A7's talked about a lot. We've talked about it here, about focusing and all of this other stuff. And I think that's one of my big learning factors is meditation and manifesting in my mind what I want and what I want to get and how I'm going to get it. I always some things I remember getting. I wanted this car and I manifested the car and I got it sitting out in my yard. I wanted a house and I manifested it and I got a house. I manifested all these things and I actually ended up with them. I have a pretty darn good life. I mean, I'm like, sometimes I look at it and I sit on the steps of the porch or put out my easy chair and I look out over the farm here and man, this is pretty good. How did I get here? So I would credit this show and doing this show and all the learning how to manifest the things you want in your life. You may not think you're doing it, but in the long term, it comes out. You got to do some of the work, though. You can't just sit back. And it's always been my philosophy. No matter what you do, you still have to do the work to get what you want. You still have to manifest it, though, to follow through.
Yeah, I totally agree. You can only manifest something that you think about, right? If you don't think about something, you're never going to manifest it. But you got to also be careful with what you think about. Be careful what you wish for, because thoughts are things. And I always bring this up. A couple of years ago, I was working on a very intensive project that required concentration. And right as I was starting the project, next door neighbor started mowing his lawn. And the thought went through my mind, I wish that lawnmower would just break and never be repairable. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened as soon as I finished thinking that thought. And by the end of the week, that lawnmower was out on the curb.
Wow.
So be really careful, because under certain circumstances, when the constellations are right, this can happen. Even though in practice it usually means manifesting something like a house. Like, I want a house. I want it to have 6 rooms and 2 bathrooms and that sort of thing. And take the necessary steps to acquire that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Lucky, have you manifested? What have you learned? Is that on your list of things? Is that any important?
I mean, everything works out perfectly for me. That's one of the things. And as long as you're relaxed, that's the most important thing, is patience. When you're going to manifest something, you have to leave it up to patience, where a lot of times when you manifest, it's not going to happen right now, but it's got to build up. And you might have to modify your manifestation a little bit or modify your goal. But as long as you know where it is, and you don't need to know how to get there exactly, but you need to keep, adjusting it here and there. In meditation, one of the things is like, there was a time when I was taught how to meditate, and this is the right way, and this is how to do it. And I learned when I achieved happiness is that there is no one meditation. There's walking meditation. You can wash the dishes and meditate. You can lay down and meditate, which is one of the things is in the beginning is you don't lay down and meditate because you're going to fall asleep. And then I met a guy who said to me, he was a monk, and he said, yeah, no, you can lay down and meditate if you want to meditate because you need sleep. What's wrong with you? And if you want to lay down and meditate and get used to that, and eventually you won't fall asleep, and that's what your meditation. And if you want to sit and meditate, sit and meditate. Clear your head. If you want to walk and meditate, walk and meditate. There is no one way to meditate. It's all about clearing the head. The one thing is when things come up during your life, you just say, thank you, I'll deal with that later. You push it away. You don't engage with it, and you just go for clearing the mind. That's all meditation is about clearing the mind and being at peace with who you are right now and living in the now.
Yeah, I think some of the best thoughts have come to me in a meditative state that I've achieved while chopping wood. Because it's a unique experience, because you gotta be 100% alert, while at the same time focused at the job at hand, because it is a dangerous thing.
Yes.
And you're cut off from the outside world because you're wearing ear protection and eye protection and gloves, obviously. And you're doing just this one thing. You're chopping wood. That's it. And that's a great form of meditation, at least from my personal experience.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Somebody, I know Wayne has said something about meditating with washing dishes, which is
sure.
Kind of, you're just sitting there and washing dishes and not thinking about much.
Yeah, I've also had some interesting revelations while washing dishes specifically. Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Nina, who did me a favor. She put up some Milky Way Soul Tribe merch in her Streamlabs store. So if you want to get a Milky Way Soul Tribe shirt or a mug, which I got a mug today, I ordered, and I got some new stuff. She's got the Anakarana. I don't know if you can see this. It's a green shirt, but it says Anakarana on it. So if you're in a green screen, it will come up as Anakarana. Isn't that kind of cool?
Yeah.
But she's got the new ones of the Milky Way Soul Tribe shirts. Different ones.
I got one of them on right now.
Yeah, that was the one I made up.
Yeah, but you can't see it because of the.
I gotta get rid of this.
Yeah, get rid of it. There you go. Look at over there. Yeah.
Vibe with the tribe.
With the tribe, yeah, Milky Way Soul Tribe. Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one I made up my test run, and then Nina made up some other ones on her. Those are not the ones that'll be on her site, but that was one I made up, and I got some of those too, and I mailed one out to you. Yeah. Like I said, I got some more. It was kind of my idea, but I just didn't have the time. So I want to say thank you to Nina, who took the time that I didn't have and went out and got those shirts made. And so hopefully go out and buy one, support the Milky Way Soul Tribe, people. And it'll be fun. We'll all wear our Milky Way Soul Tribe shirts, one way or another. It'll be fun.
I'll definitely check it out. I'm curious to see how much the shipping to Germany will be. Probably like $60,
Yeah.
Something ridiculous.
Yeah, I'll put up.
I mean, it used to be reasonable, like the shipping from the United States, but lately it's been like insane, like $80 for like a T-shirt or something. So yeah,
you can't pay $80 for a T-shirt.
And then
crazy.
stand in line for 45 minutes at the Zoll thing, the customs office, where they grill you like, why did you buy this? What is the content? What is the composition? What is the weight?
I know. Yeah, I'll have to put the link. I'll put the link in the description, people. So after the show, so you can click the Streamlabs link, and it's Nina's been putting it in the chat. You're right here. It is too. I'll put there. There you go. Yeah, get your Streamlabs. Don't pay $80 for it though. That's a little crazy. But shipping can be stamps are going up. Speaking of that, go get your stamps before they go skyrocketing. Oh man.
Anyway. That's global inflation is a reality. I mean, all the currencies are going down in value in tandem, it seems.
Yes. Everything is getting. I'm trying to figure out this. Maybe this is it. Anyway, everything is getting crazy in price, and I expect everything will go up even more in the future. So, yeah. Well, anyway. Let's see, what else was I going to say? So what else have we learned while we were on this show? Big thing was dreams. We did a lot of show on, interpreting like your dreams or going places in your mind, like when you're half awake, or lucid dreaming. That's the word I'm looking for. Lucid dreaming.
Dreams have meaning. That's one thing I've learned. Dreams have meaning because they can, under certain circumstances, be predictive dreams. They can be clairvoyant dreams. Although most dreams are not clairvoyant, but in any case, they do have meaning for you, and you can't rely on the use of one of those dream guides or whatever. You have to figure out what each of those individual symbols means for you, the dreamer, right? Because it's your dream, right? It's not somebody else's dream. So careful analysis of a dream will reveal the deeper meaning. And it's important that every one of us write down our dreams and analyze them. It doesn't necessarily mean sharing it with somebody else, even though you can, except that you're sharing like some very intimate aspects of the life of your inner soul by doing that.
No, that's well true. That's the thing about dreams is you have to write down your dreams with no judgment, no idea. Just write down the words. Just clear your head. Just write it down. And analyze it much later, a day later, 2 days later. Just write down just to say you put it on paper, and then wait 6-10 hours, then look it over and think, what do these symbols mean to me? Not what do they mean to the collective? What do they mean to other people? What do these symbols mean to me? What can I get from this? That's what dreams, because these dream guides give you no information. They'll give you the collective information, but again, dreams are personal. You really can't use someone else's analysis for your own dream, but
and some of them have meaning that I've never been able to understand. Like I had a dream where, in part of the dream, I had to buy something from a vending machine, and the vending machine took like banknotes. It had a slot for banknotes, and it had a slot for coins, and then it had this triangular slot for cloves of garlic. It said insert sharp end first, and I was like, and I went through my pockets and I happened to have some cloves of garlic, so I started putting them into the machine. I don't know, it was just like a really weird symbolism that popped up in my dream, like that garlic is somehow currency.
Well,
I don't know.
You always said you eat a lot of garlic.
I do eat a lot of garlic. Yeah, I mean, for Christ's sake, it saved my life when I was 14. I had a really serious case of pneumonia, and it was garlic milk that saved me, because we had no health insurance, nothing. I was sick for 3 weeks. I was coughing up blood. I had fever like you wouldn't believe. It was terrible.
Yeah. Garlic is powerful.
It is. Yeah.
If you don't like
especially as a preventative, it clears out your circulatory system, prevents atherosclerosis, helps fight against cancer, diabetes, everything.
Yeah, it does. Good thing to have. I always take my garlic oil tablets or pills or whatever in the morning, and I put garlic powder on pretty much everything, and I do eat garlic cloves too, so I'm all garliced up.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. I consume 3 raw cloves of garlic every night on an empty stomach. Yeah.
F Kitty says mosquito repellent. That is true. I used to buy back when I was in Wisconsin. Mosquitoes were really, really bad. Not so much here in North Dakota, but mosquitoes were so bad. We would buy these big tubs of garlic powder for the animals and put it in their grain to help them get rid of the bugs, the mosquitoes and things. So there you go.
Yeah.
So anyway, Lucky, what about you there? Do you eat a lot of garlic? Yes, no?
I eat some, but I mean, it's natural part of, it's just one of the things that's in the house, it's goes with the food. It's not a really big thing. It's not, I don't make a big deal of it. It just happens to be there. We have a lot of garlic in our house, it's also easy to grow. I mean, it's kind of a weed. It's kind of a weed. Once you put garlic out in your garden, it's gonna go everywhere eventually, because nothing eats it. Even the rabbits will avoid it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and insects avoid it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's good to have on the outskirts of the garden because it keeps stuff away from the other stuff. But garlic is very, very beneficial just in the garden itself. I mean, having it. I mean, onions are great, but even the onions, some things will eat onions for some reason, but garlic, nothing eats the garlic.
Well, and yeah, that I mean, I love garlic. Speaking of that, is there foods, that help your dreams? And because we're all garlic eaters, is that what helps us? Because I know there's a lot of people who don't even eat garlic. They really don't. And is there a food, besides mushrooms or DMT, which we talked about here before, that would let you have better dreams or interpret your dreams? Or that's my question.
Not that I know of, but I do know of a vitamin that could do that, and that's niacin, or vitamin B3.
Really?
Vitamin B3 increases your chances of having it. First of all, we all do dream when we sleep. It's just that we don't all remember our dreams. Vitamin B3 can help you remember your dreams better because it'll make them a bit more vivid. For some people also dream only in black and white, but upon taking vitamin B3, they'll dream in color. So, and also if you already dream in color, you'll dream in brighter colors, or so they say.
F Kitty says mugwort, poppy, spearmint, mint, lemon, balm, lemongrass.
Yeah.
Well, the problem you're talking about eating, food and helping you dream. You really shouldn't be going to sleep on a full stomach, because if your body's digesting, you're not going to dream very well because your body's going to have so much blood focused on to digest. So you actually should be mostly on a light or on an empty stomach when you go to sleep. That's one of the things that they recommend for you to have good dreams, is to have a very little in your stomach, or and drinking water. Not water helps flush the system, and if you have a system that's flushed out, except for you have to wake up and pee, but besides that, if the system is flushed out, it'll help you dream better because your body won't be focusing on trying to get all that stuff out of your stomach and into your system.
A good.
And
I know.
It also helps if you go to bed when you're totally tired and not when you're just slightly tired, right? If you're only slightly tired, you're not going to sleep that deeply for some reason.
Yeah. A lot of people take melatonin, but the problem is they take it to make them sleep. They need to take it before sleep or when it's time to sleep, because it takes a while to kick in to a catalyst to make you sleep, and people don't realize it.
It can take up to 3 hours for it to take effect. Sometimes it takes as little as half an hour.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I take it most nights. Melatonin. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yogi.
I don't take anything because I work nights for the most part, and I sleep about 5 hours a day. But on the weekends, I'll sleep about 10 hours. But when I go to bed, I'm exhausted, but I only sleep for 5 hours, and after that, I can't go back. I can't sleep any more than that. And during the day, waking up during the day really stinks because it's like you think to yourself, well, can I get something done and go back to sleep? And then you can't get back to sleep after that. But
Hmm.
I guess 5 hours is good enough for me during the week, and that's one of the things. But yeah, sleeping, basically going to bed exhausted, you do sleep really well,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
at least
Oh
for
yeah.
5 hours, and then you wake up, and
Hmm.
then your body's like, hey, during the day, I mean, I put nightshades on my eyes, but my body already knows it's light outside and just wants to get up and do something during the day.
Yeah. The other thing that somebody mentioned that I totally forgot about is hops. Hops is another herb that'll make you sleep, and that's one of the active ingredients in beer. What I usually do is I get a whole big bag of it. They sell it in pharmacies here in Europe, and you just make a tea out of it. And it tastes bitter. It tastes a bit like beer, and just strain it and drink it.
That's
Yeah.
another thing that grows really well. Hops, if you can get hops, it
Hmm.
grows really well. You just have to have it because it likes to vine. But
Yes, it is
that's
a
another thing
vine.
that's
Yeah.
really wonderful to grow it. You can do a lot of work with that, but I haven't done hops in years. I had a friend who used to work with hops. He had different kinds of hops because he did his own beer brewing. But eventually he stopped doing that, and he just had these hop plants. He used to sell them to people, you know, other
Huh.
Hmm.
brewers.
Huh.
The other herb that'll put you to sleep is valerian root.
Yeah,
Uh,
the root, yeah.
yeah. But see, with these herbs, they're kind of the same with the melatonin. It's kind of unpredictable. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, and so it's kind of iffy. I used to do all three of these or all four of these every night, and it didn't help me sleep any more than when I wasn't taking any of them.
Well, Mary was mentioning, no, yeah, Mary Wins was mentioning magnesium. I take magnesium. I take magnesium citrate, which you take magnesium citrate. You got to take in small dosages because it'll make you go to the bathroom. It'll keep you regular if you take too much of it. Then there's magnesium glycinate, and there's another one. Citrate, glycinate isn't, but the one that you don't want is magnesium oxide. It's garbage, and it's in all vitamins. Magnesium oxide, because your body can't metabolize it. You know, that's the
Hmm.
thing. But magnesium is great for helping you sleep. It also
Yeah.
helps reduce depression, helps keep your system going. Magnesium is wonderful, but you have to know what you're taking for magnesium. You just can't take magnesium. You have to know which form you're taking, and then I take a couple different ones. But again, magnesium oxide is just garbage. It just goes right through your system because the body can't use it.
Hmm. Yeah. Then there's also magnesium sulfate, which is Epsom salt, which but that has the side effect of making you experience diarrhea,
Yeah,
bowel
yeah.
movements. Yeah.
Well, again, yeah, you can take it in small doses, but too much, and you just clean your system out. It's a great way of cleaning your system out. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I take the magnesium citrate.
Yep.
I got it in bulk, and I take it because calcium. Everybody gets enough calcium,
Yep.
especially somebody like me who eats a lot of cheese. So, but magnesium, that's not that easy to get. So that's why I'm taking the supplement.
Hmm.
Wow. Yeah. I think F Kitty said something about yogi tea. I never heard of yogi tea.
Never
And
heard of it. No.
never heard of that either, but I would like to try that. Yogi tea sounded good. It sounds good. Must be good. Anyway, yeah, magnesium. I take magnesium. I take vitamin C. A
Oh
little
yeah.
bit of melatonin once in a while. All of these things do help. I mean, especially if you're taking them in the right dosage, the right kind that your body needs. If your body doesn't need it, it's going to expel it anyway. And you're just wasting your money buying all that stuff. But I think that the right amounts, or the how your body feels after you try it, like tea. There's no right or wrong, but tea can have caffeine in it. if you're drinking black tea or something like that. But there's herbal teas that are mixed with dandelion, which is really good for your liver and cancer healing and all that kind of good stuff. But it's if do you get the right ones? And do you take enough of it? Or just because you took a vitamin C tablet, I'm going to get well. I took my vitamin C today. I'm done. that doesn't cut it.
Vitamin C, I'd say vitamin C is the best general vitamin that you can take out of all of these that we mentioned. And if I had to put my money on just one vitamin, it would be vitamin C. It's the best preventative in general. It helps prevent heart disease, helps prevent cancer, diabetes, you name it. It's also extremely cheap, and you should be taking about at least a gram of it a day, but as a preventative. So yeah, that and garlic, definitely, because it's also vitamin C is also an anti-inflammatory, and in my opinion, most diseases are caused by some form of inflammation.
Actually, it's funny. Vitamin C, you can get it in like these big powder. It's like a salt in these big bags. It is an awesome cleanser, and it's cheap. You buy a big bag of this stuff, and it's like salt, but it'll clean everything. Because my wife has this hot water thing that she heats her water up in, and it was all caked with this brown stuff along the walls. And tried vinegar, tried the baking soda scrub it, nothing will work. Basically put vitamin C, a lot of it, and let it boil with the vitamin C. It took all that junk off, flushed it out, cleaned it out. Of course, what's it matter? It's vitamin C, because there's a little bit residue of vitamin C in there, doesn't really matter. But it was the only thing that would clean that darn thing off, because that was just, I don't know what, it probably didn't affect anything. It just discolored. It just looked ugly. But I mean, I used to drive me crazy to open the thing up and see that brown, covering of everything. It's from the water. The minerals from the water. It gets its minerals around it. But yeah, vinegar didn't work. Baking soda and vinegar didn't work. I tried everything because there's all different ideas how to get rid of it. But vitamin C, just heat the salt up and it would just take it all away.
Yeah, and Max Vision said that it takes out the heavy metals, and he's right. It'll also decolorize iodine. If you take iodine and put a drop of it in vitamin C solution, it just turns white immediately. It's also the only vitamin that the body doesn't make on its own. We're the only mammal besides the guinea pig that doesn't make its own vitamin C. Every other mammal makes its own vitamin C in the liver, but the human and the guinea pig can't. That's why we need the supplement. And most of us aren't eating enough fruits to begin with, so that's the reason.
Huh. Wow, I did not know that. Guinea pigs, huh?
Yeah. That's why they're used in medical research.
Huh. Interesting. So we're more like a guinea pig. That just says something all of that right there, doesn't it?
There's something weird about us and vitamin C that there's something that doesn't make any sense with that, because why were one of the only mammals that not produce vitamin C and we're supposed to be an advanced species? It's like, wait, what is this? Other primates can make vitamin C. Why can't humans? It's weird.
Exactly. Like even a lion who eats nothing but meat, right, makes its own vitamin C.
Cats, cats and dogs make their own vitamin C. You have to be careful because you can't get the vitamin C because it actually can be toxic to them. But as humans, we need it. We'll get sick. It's so weird.
It is weird.
That's a really weird thing. Looking into that gets really weird.
Yeah, I typically get my vitamin C in powder form in a 5 kilo tub. 5 kilo, and I pay €50 for it.
And I use that to clean that. I have some of it. I use it to clean stuff. It's amazing. The vitamin C powder, it cleans so well. But again, a little goes a long way, and that's the weird thing about it too. It's cheap and goes like baking soda. A little goes a long way, and it's really cheap. A lot of these things that a little goes a long way are so cheap, and we just think they're garbage. We don't use them, but baking soda cleans well. It's good for our systems. Again, a little goes a long way.
I use baking soda every day. I use it to brush my teeth because I haven't used toothpaste in like 30 years. because not only is it expensive, but it contains toxic chemicals that I don't want in my body. Whereas using baking soda is not only cheaper, but it does the job a lot better. And also, it has the added benefit that if you do have a cavity, that's caused by like a crack in the tooth enamel, and this baking soda will get inside that crack, and over time it will recalcify that and actually naturally heal the cavity. It won't do as good a job as a dentist will, but on its own, it actually can help prevent cavities. Yes.
Fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so weird, the things that we don't even consider that are so cheap and so readily available, and we go to the chemicals, which are actually aren't even effective.
Yeah, and not only that, but they're super expensive, and most of them have very toxic side effects.
So
Whereas
weird.
this natural stuff that we're talking about, vitamin C, garlic, baking soda, has no side effects.
True. It is
None.
a weird thing that the life we live in, that they used to use a long time ago, and they got replaced with these chemicals that they're toxic, and
Yeah.
the off gases.
Exactly, yeah. And, well, like the ancients knew about stuff like aspirin, except that back then they didn't call it aspirin. Back then they called it willow, because that's what they made it from. They made it from the bark of a willow tree.
Yep.
If you make a tea out of that, that's aspirin.
Yeah, and the thing is if you know the recipe, you can still do it today. But we're just so lazy that we don't do that. We just go to the store, which aspirin in the store is really not aspirin. David Null had explained that to me, that the aspirin in the store is really not aspirin. If you want aspirin, you got to go to the doctor, and he prescribes you the real stuff. Now, go figure. We've been all duped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it either. It's kind of crazy. When I found that out, I thought, "Oh my gosh, what is going on here?" I thought I've been taking aspirin all these years, and I'm really not.
So I would say, to sum it all up, if there's one thing I've learned in the past 4 years, right, would be don't trust the authorities on anything. Don't trust the government. Don't trust the media, which is just the handmaiden of the government and or i.e. the working class. And you know what they used to say, trust the science. Well, you can't trust the science when the science follows the money, right?
Yeah.
All you can do is trust the money in that case, right? So you're better off finding out what the money flows are, who's financially interested in promoting a certain agenda or a certain medical procedure or whatever, and go from there.
Very true. That's the truth. The media is going to lie to us because they want to keep us watching, and they want to sell whatever company is supporting them, and
if it bleeds, it leads.
100%. It's the truth right there.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, everybody, Max is going to have his show soon. You want to tool on over there after this show. He will be doing some remote viewing, and we know we've had him on before doing remote viewing. And that is a good way to improve your mind. It's one of the things we learn. It's part of the lucid dreaming. And while you're still awake, it's a part of a lot of things. Your mind is so much. That's one thing we learn. Our mind is so much more capable of things. We just don't use it.
Yeah, and if science has proven the fact that there's people out there that have the power of precognition, psychokinesis, all these wonderful, unbelievable psychic powers, right? And the fact that one individual can do it means that you could do it too. It's just like, the fact that there's some guy over next street over who can speak fluent Chinese means I can speak fluent Chinese too if I want to, right? All I got to do is learn.
True.
Yeah. I mean, and then the thought is too, do we really have to learn it so much, or do we tap into some
lose
record thing and
lose the inhibition?
Yeah, because the Tower of Babel thing kind of said something. How they changed everybody's thoughts in a matter of a blink of an eye, you know, and nobody could speak anything, so they couldn't communicate anymore. But there are cases where people got knocked on the head or, you know, had some stimulus, and the next thing you know, they're speaking a foreign language and they never learned it. Where did it come from?
Yeah.
How did they get that? Where'd that? You didn't learn it, but now you can speak it. That's not how it works. It's a whole different language.
Yeah.
Explain that to me.
Yeah, it means that they're tapping into like the cloud, so to speak, the psychic cloud, you know, and that if there's like a critical mass of people that can speak a certain language, like Chinese, then it's available in the cloud, so to speak. And if you can access that cloud, you can speak it too.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We just learned how to access the cloud. You know, I mean, really, we've talked about, are we living in a matrix?
Simulation.
Are we living in a you know, is this all real, holographic universe? And if it is, then we are, you know, in the computer. And we should be able to somehow access all this information. But we limit ourselves by saying we can't. I can't learn. I can't do. And therefore, we've condemned ourselves to the I can't business. Like
and if there's something, and if studying like the various anomalies and psychic phenomenon has taught me, is that there's no such thing as can't. If you really want something, there's nothing that can stop you from doing it, no matter how impossible it might seem. You know, nothing can stop you from doing what you really want to do. Where there's a will, there's a way. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, there's people that have done insane things. I'm not talking stupid things like building a Eiffel Tower out of matchsticks in your backyard or some stupid shit like that. But you know, really important stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's people who built stuff in their garage that changed the world. You know, we just don't think about that. We just think, you know, but now, I think now although I do believe that now they're limiting people to thinking so that they can control the narrative. Like, no, you're going to have to work 2 jobs. This is my thoughts anyway. It might not be the same for all. We're going to limit you because you're going to work 2 jobs. You're going to be busy all the time taking care of that family. We're going to stimulate you with all kinds of sports and games and politics and stuff. So you ain't going to go in your garage and try to invent new things. We'll invent them for you in some big corporation and hire people in a think tank to sit around all day to make these new inventions to make your life better the way we want you to make your life better.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. They'll distract you with like having to earn a living, you know, at jobs that don't pay enough salary, and then they distract you with so-called cruel and unusual entertainment, as I call it. You know, stuff like sports and TV shows and whatnot, and the news, of course, the politics show. You know, I don't really put much weight in that. To me, it's just another show on TV, right?
Yeah. And I
it
know
is
a lot
all
of people
about control.
Chat. They don't you know, listen to a lot of TV and everything. But the point is that it's out there. You know it or not, you're somehow getting control by somebody or some way, somehow. And Scratch says their distractions don't work on me. Well, Scratch, you use money. You buy things. You have electricity in your house. You have a car. You pay your taxes. You have a license to drive. You do all of these things. Well, you know what? You're in the system too. Yeah,
well,
sure.
They force you to use their money to buy knickknacks like taxes, right? Why, right? If they can print up all this money, why can't they pay their own bills? Why do you have to pay the government's bills? You know, when you can't even trust them to issue an honest buck that doesn't lose value.
Yeah, but and wasn't that what the Tea Party was all about? You know, and when they dumped all the tea in the bar because of the high taxes, yet we pay way more in taxes today, and nobody complains. Well, they do,
Yeah,
but they don't. They don't.
Yeah, they were rebelling about a 3% tax, right? A 3% tax, which is nothing.
Yeah. And what do we pay now? You pay house tax, you pay your property tax, you pay your income tax, federal tax, state taxes, tax at the store when you buy something, tax on your car, tax on your tax. Every time I buy something, it's like, oh, it's $20. It's $22.50 now. What?
Yeah, you're in Europe. You have a 20% VAT tax on almost everything, and then you have the fact that the power company is owned by the state, the gas company is owned by the city, the water company is owned by the city. So those are all taxes, right? So yeah, it's all tax.
Yeah, and then
I figure I'm paying about 75% tax.
Yeah, well, and then when the government is in control of the water and the electric and all that, don't they kind of control you then? Hey, you didn't pay your bill, you're out. You know, we're gonna up the taxes for all those people who aren't paying the water bill. What?
Yeah. Well, the water bill is a tax. That's what I'm saying, because it's owned by the government.
Yeah,
it's owned by the city government.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we've gotten our hour in, and everybody's heading over to Max Vision Remote View class. Don't worry, people. Go over and buy some merch from Nina, Milky Way Soul Tribe stuff. Have your my smiling face on your shirt. Anyway, I ordered mine today. Anyway, it'll be fun. Anyway, don't forget that. Go over to Max Vision, do some remote view, get that little mind of yours in control of your body. I think that's one of the other things we learned so much of is how much your mind controls. If you can't control your body and control yourself from all those wants and needs, or like you said, buying the knickknacks and all that other crap, if you can't control yourself from doing that, then how are you going to control yourself on the other side? What is good as your brain? How do you expect to advance if you can't control yourself now? Just your body. That's localized. I mean, can you move your finger? Yes, I can do that. Can I move my arm? Yes, I can do that. Well, can you, and I can go on, but you can't do those things. Well, you're going to have trouble.
Yeah. Good point.
True.
So, anyway, any last words, guys?
Trust yourself. Learn to trust yourself. Yeah.
Respect is automatic. Trust is earned. But trust yourself.
Yes, I agree. That's a good one. Trust yourself. That's, because if you don't trust yourself, who can you trust?
True.
Yeah. I mean, really, there's most people are depending on other people. If you have to depend on somebody, most people are untrustworthy. Very many people that you can put your life in their hands and really count on them because they're all about them, just like you're all about you.
Well, I believe it was Stalin who said, "Don't trust anyone, not even yourself." And he said it exactly that way.
Yeah. And, wise words. I guess he was right.
Yeah. Well, in his situation, he was right? Because he created that reality where he lived in that world.
Yeah. Don't even trust yourself.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. Okay, everybody, head over to Max Vision. Remember to join me and Nina tomorrow night on Sin Day Live, where we're going to be doing the Adam and Eve story, finding out why are the poles tipping or flipping, and will it happen, and what is the consequences of this? Well, you might learn something. Anyway, we're gonna do a spin on that anyway. It'll be a lot of fun. But remember, the most important thing, people, yes, trust yourself. Learn to trust yourself before you trust others. Love yourself first. Then you can spread the love and do something nice for somebody then. Most of all, be that frequency you want to receive, everybody. Love you all. Peace, everybody.